Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever this message may find you. It is your girl, G's Louise, back with another message. I hope all is doing well. I hope this message is finding you in a happy place, feeling loved, feeling amazing in your growth process and becoming, in your constant becoming of who you are and where you want to be in life, and loving on you, loving on you. But I want to talk about, I want to talk a little bit about your vibe tribe, or your people, like the people that are for you, the people that you feel the most comfortable with, the people that give you really good vibes, happy people, yeah, like people that literally glow up, like they light up when they see you coming, like they're just, just, oh my God, you're here, like that. Like that's the feeling you should have around your people. If you don't have that feeling, my dear, unfortunately, you're not around the right people, okay? If it feels like it's a job or it's draining, you know what I'm saying? It's not necessarily your people. Like it can't be, right? So society says your people is your mom or your dad, your cousin, your brother, right? Not saying that those people aren't your people, but in some cases with certain people, that in certain transformations that we go through in life, people that you thought were your people, or people that you thought were your circle, like they fall off to the wayside as you're constantly becoming, into who you are. We're always evolving and changing. Change is inevitable, and the older you get, the more you understand that that's just a part of life, and that's how it's got to be. It's like getting rid of your need to attach yourself to certain people, places, and things. It's very important to learn that along the way, so you don't be disappointed all the time, because people come and they go, and to be honest, you are the reason for that, because the more you change and the more you advance in life, and even if you, no matter what, if you're changing or they're changing, there's change being made. And when those changes are taking place, it can seem like, it could just seem like it's hurting. It's like a growing pain. But I can say that in life, we tend to, let's see why this thing is not. In life, there are things that are people that, we deal with, and we think because we've known them for a long time, or we have history with them, or we went through a whole lot of stuff with them, or maybe you just feel obligated to do or be with this person or these people. And it becomes draining. It becomes more draining than not. It becomes something that you don't enjoy anymore. If that makes sense. And people can take you for granted, especially if they have access to you. If you give them access to you, over time, I feel like they're like, well, they just take it for granted, and when you having people come in that are new and they're like, you know, trying to figure out who you are to them, it's very important that you understand energy and you understand how you feel when you're around them without the words. Without the words. It's like when people ignore their intuition when it comes to you, and it becomes a battle, because what you don't want to happen is that you're allowing people in, right? Or you're allowing people to stay in your space and they don't deserve it. Okay? Meaning they have ignored their intuition when it comes to you. Okay? They know that you're good and fair. You know, they know that because they can feel it. But you know that they are ignoring their intuition. So, do you allow them, you know, to, because this is what people do now. Let's just be clear. They talk about you. You know, they put themselves in denial. And people always say, well, the energy switch. And I just got to say, the energy switch is when people have a problem that they're not expressing with you, and then they begin to talk about it with others. And that's why it's real important that you understand who your soul tribe is, who your people are. You can feel in your heart, in your soul, when things are just different. You know what I mean? If it's been this way and then it's not that way no more, it's like something is off. And it's not for you to be looking for a 3D solution. Like the solution is not the reason of this change or this switch. It's not, if it's not showing itself in your everyday, in your 3D, meaning in your reality. It's not showing. Like, oh, but he hasn't done anything to me physically. Or, oh, she hasn't done anything to me physically. Or they didn't say that. But didn't their energy say that? Have you ever felt like, this person don't like me, and I know they don't like me, and they didn't even say it? Or did you ever feel like, you know, somebody just have you ever walked into a room and it just feels like they're talking about you in the room, but nobody's saying anything though? Nobody said that, but you can feel it, you know? And when you can feel those things, that's when you I just feel like a lot of times, y'all, we sit into these relationships with people just based upon stuff that don't matter. Like, oh, because so-and-so said, well, we've been rocking since we was little, or we've been best friends since we was, you know what I'm saying? But when you around that person, how do they make you feel? Like, do you feel like you're bending over backwards, or you like, I'm gonna just do this because I don't want them to say nothing? You're doing something for them just so they don't say nothing. You don't want to do this thing for them, so you're just doing it because. It's like I remember my sister, she had a best friend that she was friends with forever. They were just best friends. Like, that was their title, right? But they didn't talk no more. They lost touch. There was a huge wedge in between them, unspoken. They didn't know, there was no real reason why they didn't speak. Like, they didn't fall out. Like, nobody said anything. It just was like an energy shift, right? They call it ghosting. It's like when somebody just stops communication with you, or don't have nothing to say, or they just one day it's like the energy, you could feel the energy, you could cut it with a knife, but the person just goes away. Okay, so their relationship ended without the words, right? And then she had a god baby with her. Like, her child was her godchild. But it was like she was sending the child clothes and stuff like that, but the relationship wasn't there because the baby was a little baby, so she didn't really have a like strict bond with the child. And they lived in another city or another state. Well, actually they lived in another state. But to make this story line up, I'm saying this to say that people are doing things out of obligation. Like, she didn't have a relationship anymore. She did have a relationship, but the relationship had died down. So it was like, it was non-existent. So what was the point of continuing to beat a dead horse? And I speak about this a lot in my videos, only because I've been through these things, like where I've wasted so much time and effort on people that weren't lighting up when they see me. They was lighting up when they see, but I wasn't lighting up. I didn't feel good. You know what I'm saying? I did not feel good being around these people, and I'm always like, I felt bent over backwards, like I'm constantly doing, or I'm just going out my way, and I just feel like I'm doing it out of obligation, or I'm doing it because this person is supposed to be this thing to me, or this person holds this title, but I really wasn't feeling it. Like, I didn't feel good doing these things no more. And I feel like when we go through those times, it should be, spoken on and deaded. Like, I don't see why because when you got to think, if you're not my friend, you're my frenemy. You're my enemy. If you're not for me, you're against me. It's not no in between there. It's not a gray area. That's how I view that. If you're not for me, you're definitely against me. I can't wait around and see if like, you can't wait around and see. People know who you are to them. And if they choose to, if they know that you're an asset to them, a lot, they know that you're dependable. They know that, you're somebody that they can call on. However, if that shit is a one-way street, or it's one-sided, right? Or they take advantage of it, or they say, well, yeah, or they become a hater, or they become the op, but you don't even know it. Sometimes people become the op and you don't even know it. You can feel the energy though, but you don't know exactly to what extent, the deceit is going toward. Like, people sit around and have conversations that, only God hears. So he does make the moves for you. He makes it where they're uncomfortable around you and your energy. So they just get, it's just like they just go away or something. I don't know. But at the end of the day, when people are not for you, it's not something that you have to guess or figure out. You can feel it. And sometimes you deny it. You don't want to feel it. Sometimes you refuse to think that this could be. And it's fine if that's what you want to do. If you want to refuse to think that this could be, all I can say is put your seatbelt on, because you're going to go for a lot of rides that you didn't really want to go on. And you're going to, it's basically out of curiosity. Like, well, why you ain't talking to me? Why you can keep creeping around there and peeping through the window. But again, that's beating a dead horse, because you felt the energy shift and you felt that switch. So let it switch. It's switching for a reason, and it's out of your knowing. It's out of your control, and it has to happen that way. I mean, and it's the part that we have to get hip to is the acceptance part of it, because everybody is just changing and going their way, their direction. And it's okay if their direction is just happen to be the opposite of yours. It's okay. It's something that happens. However, when there are people that are not for you, man, I'm telling you, when I say you can feel it, it's literally like walking in a room where you have been sitting there, been talked about. You can't even address it because they not gonna own up to that. Why? Because they didn't get caught in the act of actually doing it. You just know that these people, oh yeah, they've been sitting around talking. And anybody who ignores their intuition about you and talks about you and has something negative to say about you for no apparent, like, you haven't done anything but be good to this person, but they have created this whole gossip line about you and made up all these things in their head to talk about that have, like, they don't even align up with who you are. It's amazing how people literally sit around and gossip about one another and be friends. So when that happens, I'm like, listen, I'm out that tribe. I'm not trying to be a part of a tribe where people just sit around and talk negatively about one another. Like, what is the reason for that? Help me get better. If there's something that you feel that is negative about me, that's not appealing, or it's not righteous, it's not like, I'm not saying I'm perfect or anyone's perfect, but if it's not like if there's an issue that you have with an individual, the best thing to do is to talk directly to them and just holler at them and see what's up. You know what I'm saying? See what's up. It ain't no need in talking about it to anyone else, in my opinion. And when they do that, again, you can feel it, man. You can feel when it's happening. That's like when guys, they be like, man, you didn't tell your girl, did you? Because they don't, like, when guys fuck up with their girl, they don't be wanting you to tell your friends. You know what I'm saying? But if they're not, if you trying to bring it to them and they ain't open to talk about it, then you got to talk to your friends. That's how I see it. But that's a whole nother lane. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking of the people where when you sitting with them, you feel open, amazing, loved, understood, appreciated, and then you go to this other set of these people that you have obligations to now. At this point, you're just doing things just because of their title that they hold, and the title has expired, right? Because it's no longer that. I can't hold a title that if I'm not married, I can't say I'm married. If I'm, not single, I can't walk around and say I'm single. I mean, it's just because I'm not. You know what I'm saying? But that's what people do. They hold titles way beyond their expiration date, and everything is going sour. And it's like, you wonder why. Everything is just, it's moving and shifting and changing the way it needs to change around your overall becoming. Like, all the things that you're doing changes the players in the game. And sometimes people, when you're moving and shifting around players, you got players that get salty about that. You got people that get real salty, and of course they don't want to own up to that. They don't want to look in the mirror and say that. You know what I'm saying? Like, but that's what it is. That's really what it is. Nobody wants you to tell them what it is, because then they got to really, like, accept some shit. And that's the hardest part, like I said. Accepting. Being in acceptance of what is. It's very challenging. When I say very, I mean very. Because I do it. And I don't like to accept sometimes that You know, it's just the let go of it. Letting go. Understanding that, you know, these connections have been sabotaged or expired or, you know, discarded. God discards a lot of connections due to conversations you didn't get to hear. You know, he protects you. He protects us. And you got to listen to that. Like, you really got to listen. You know, the people that are meant for you, it's easy. It's easy. It's easy. It's nothing hard about it. It's like riding a bike or floating on your back in the water, just floating. It's just light. It doesn't feel hard. Like, the pressure is like gone. And if you're like me and you're a lover and then you're a healer and you attract a lot of different types of people and energies, it's like, man, and then don't be pretty, because I'm telling you, it's like hard, because you got all these people gravitating towards you, but you got to make sure that these people they hold your best interest, because it's very challenging, you know, not knowing. The not knowing can really take you down some wrong, dark, lonely detours. And that's why I do these videos, to share, like, depending upon where you're at, because once you can relate, and whatever I'm saying, if it tags you in and you can relate, then you can utilize some of the pointers that I'm giving, which is analyze who these people are and how you're feeling. Be quiet. Don't say nothing. You don't say nothing. Just don't listen to what they're like. Will block out the words that is coming out of these people's mouths. Block that shit out, because I'm trying to tell you what I know. Like, man, I'm telling you, you will learn so much by looking at one's actions. Yeah. You don't gotta hear all that stuff they saying is just smoke anyway. I mean, unless you'll see soon that it's solid, and if it's not smoke. But I'm just saying, like, for the most part, like, when people are talking, they say a lot of stuff but the movements don't match up. And then, you know, there's like a trillion excuses that we can come up with on why things ain't adding up. They can come up with a trillion excuses. We could talk about it all day, but at the end of the day, what do you have? What are you feeling? How do you feel? Are you feeling like $1,000,000 when you're around them? Like, do you get excited and happy when you see their face? Or do you be like, oh my God? Or when they call your phone, do you be like, oh? Or when they call your phone, do you be like, you know what I'm saying? And make sure you're not excited they're calling your phone because they ghosted you and they made you think. Because a lot of people use ghosting as a tactic, or like a energy flip, transferring of energy. So they try to make you miss them, so you could be like, oh my God, he's calling me, or oh my God, she's calling me. No, I'm not talking about that kind. That's artificial. That's artificial flavoring. that's that bullshit. Okay, I'm talking about authentically just being in their presence, how they make you feel. Pay attention to that. Document it, you know, if you have to. Just observe it, because I'm trying to tell you, it is crazy. Like, it's crazy when you sit back and you realize and you look back at all the relationships you done had, friends, lovers, you know, just people in general, and you just be like, okay, a lot of them were just like trauma bonds or lessons, and, you know, it's been a journey, you know, and I just wanted to share that because when you have an understanding of how to assess people and place them into your life, it really, really, really like sets you up for happiness, like true happiness. Because when you sit there and waste all your time trying to please somebody or trying to make, because how many times have you done or made decisions based on somebody else? Like when you make a decision based on somebody else, then that leads to resentment, you know, you being upset about, you know, just anything. I mean, you could basically, like, you could be like, because like me having a child, I made decisions based on other people that they wanted, what they wanted, you know, having a child. Or because let's just be clear, I mean, when we get pregnant, sometimes, ladies, we don't have to have the baby, you know what I'm saying? There are options and you can have abortions, right? And I'm glad that I didn't get an abortion, but I'm just saying, like, when you do have those options and then you make your decision based on what this guy is saying or what, you know, and then that doesn't work out, then what do you have? Then you're there with the baby. It's mama's baby, daddy's maybe. And when I got pregnant with my first child, I was told that. And to be perfectly honest, his father told me, like, from the door, I was pregnant. I was actually pregnant. And he said, remember, it's mama's baby, daddy's maybe. And it stuck with me. Rest his soul. Moses Montgomery. He said that to me. I did not quite grasp it. Went completely over my head. I heard what he said. But when I got to raising this child, I did that shit by my fucking self. Okay? I ain't gonna say that the daddy wasn't never around. I'm just gonna say the majority of the things that count, majority of her life, I had to do that shit by myself. I'm still dealing with her by myself in a sense. I mean, she's grown, but it's still like she has things, you know, you're always a mom. But I'm saying all that to say, like, you know, we make these decisions, we choose these things, and we base it on other people. Like, he was the one that was going crazy about how he wanted a child. Like, he was the one blew the whole spot up. Like, I had the shit set up. I wasn't even gonna have no baby. Thank God she's here, but I needed her to be here. I didn't know that at the time, though. God knew it. However, I still made a decision based on somebody else. Because that didn't go right. It ended up being my baby. And my stuff, my responsibility. And, ladies, I think a lot of times with men, we make decisions based upon what they want. And if he was for you, if he's 100% for you, and he's your soul tribe, your soul vibe, you know, if he's your person, yeah, you can do that. I seen real love. I seen two people really rocking out. You know what I'm saying? Where it's not like they in competition with each other and like hating on each other and, you know, talking about each other behind each other back, fucking other people behind each other. Like, I've seen it where it's not like that. I've seen it where they ride or die. Like, I'll die for this nigga, he'll die for me. Like, you know, like he's got my back behind my back. When ain't nobody looking, he's there. And vice versa with the chick. I've actually seen it, so I know it's possible. But that bond has to be built. And this video is way too long. So know where your vibe tribe is, your soul tribe. You know, pay attention to who you're allowing in your circle. And, you know, make sure you're loving on them and they loving on you. It's equal give and take, where it's easy. It's an easy flow. Most of these people that you want to have into your circle, they're not codependent. They're not people that need you to feel a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Or vice versa. You don't need them to feel a certain way. Or, you all have goals and you're working towards them and you're exchanging ideas and showing each other the way and sharing knowledge of things that that can help them get to the next level and seeing where they need help and jumping in, seeing what you can do to liven their life up or bring joy to them, bring a smile to their face, seeing the areas in their lives where you could jump in like double dutch and fix it, because those are things they lack in, and vice versa. They're doing the same for you. Like, oh, you need a tree cut? I cut trees. Let me come over there and cut your trees down. Let me come over there and do this. Oh yeah, I cook. You work all day and you don't get to cook and you don't have a lot of time. Let me cook dinner for you and you'll have dinner for when you come home. Those are the things that I'm talking about your tribe. People that love you and you love them back. And love is an action word. I don't care how many times you say it to a motherfucker. If you don't show that you love them, that shit ain't real. That's fake. Period. That shit is another word. Use another word. Passion, admiration, lust. You don't love that motherfucker. If you ain't acting on that shit, that ain't shit. That shit ain't love. It's something else. Let's look for another word, because it ain't that. Till next time, I wish you peace, wealth, health, and the time to enjoy them all. I love y'all.